She reached into her jacket pocket and pulled out a small rectangular case. Dark blue, Army seal embossed on the cover. She opened it. Inside, mounted on black velvet, a silver badge, a rifle surrounded by a wreath. The combat action badge. Joni Ernst set it on the witness table in front of her, not gently, with purpose. The kind of sound that makes everyone in a room understand something serious is about to happen. Senator from Iowa, Iraq War veteran, Lieutenant Colonel, retired, Bronze Star recipient. A woman who earned that badge by surviving an IED attack on her convoy in Iraq and returning fire under enemy engagement. She looked across the table at Pete Hegseth, and she asked the question that would expose everything. Show me your combat action badge. 5 words, one impossible demand, because Joni Ernst knew something everyone watching was about to learn. Pete Hegseth did not have one, had never earned one, had never qualified for one, because he had never been in combat. And for the next 73 seconds, he would sit in complete silence rather than admit it. Senate Armed Services Committee, Friday morning, 10:23 a.m. The hearing had been running for 90 minutes, standard questions about modernization priorities and alliance commitments. Then Joni Ernst's turn came. She did not ease into it, did not start with pleasantries. She pulled out that blue case, set it on the table, opened it. The combat action badge, Mr. Secretary. Ernst's voice was calm, but there was something underneath. Not anger, something colder. The tone of someone who had been shot at, who had lost friends in combat, who did not tolerate stolen valor. I want to talk about combat experience. Hegseth nodded, confident. This was his territory. His team had prepped talking points about leadership under pressure. He was not prepared for what came next. This, Ernst tapped the badge, is a combat action badge. Are you familiar with it? Yes, Senator. It is awarded to soldiers who are personally present and actively engaged by the enemy. Ernst did not wait for his response. That is the regulation, AR 600-8-22. Personal presence, active engagement, enemy fire. She picked up the badge, held it. I earned this in Iraq. March 2004, route Tampa, north of Baghdad. My convoy was hit by an improvised explosive device. The lead vehicle took the blast. We came under small arms fire from the tree line. I was in the third vehicle. We returned fire, suppressed the attack, secured the scene. She set the badge back down. That is how you earn a combat action badge, Mr. Secretary. You are present. You are engaged. You survive. The Army documents it. You receive the badge. She looked at Hegseth. You have claimed combat experience in multiple public statements, Fox News, campaign appearances, your book references brothers you served with in combat. She pulled out a document. Fox News transcript, September 2023. You said, having served in combat zones myself, I understand what our troops face. Another document, campaign speech, Iowa Veterans Forum, November 2023. My combat deployments taught me that readiness is life or death, plural, deployments. She set them down. Mr. Secretary, show me your combat action badge. The room went completely silent. Hegseth's face changed, not pale, not red, frozen, like someone who just realized the trap had closed and there was no way out. Hegseth cleared his throat. Senator, I served with distinction in the National Guard. That is not what I asked. I asked to see your combat action badge. Do you have one? 10 seconds. Hegseth looked at his attorney, looked back. I served in support of Operation Enduring Freedom at Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo Bay is a detention facility? Ernst interrupted. Not a combat zone. Were you engaged by enemy fire at Guantanamo Bay? Hegseth shifted. The mission there was, yes or no, Mr. Secretary. Were you engaged by enemy fire? 20 seconds. No, but did you receive a combat action badge for your service at Guantanamo Bay? No, however. Ernst pulled out another document, official, Army letterhead. This is your DD Form 214, your discharge paperwork. I subpoenaed it from the National Personnel Records Center. She began reading. Awards and decorations, Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Iraq Campaign Medal. She looked up. No combat action badge listed. The Iraq Campaign Medal indicates you deployed to Iraq. The absence of a cab indicates you were not engaged in combat while there. When were you in Iraq, Mr. Secretary? 2005. Briefly, in a support capacity. What was your role? I was assigned to a provincial reconstruction team. Were you engaged by enemy fire during that deployment? 30 seconds. The team operated in yes or no, no, but the threat environment. Did you receive a combat action badge? 40 seconds, no. Ernst leaned forward. So let me understand. You served at Guantanamo Bay, not in combat. You deployed to Iraq in a support role, not in combat. You never received a combat action badge because you were never engaged by the enemy. She paused. And yet you spent years telling veterans, telling the media, telling the American people that you have combat experience. Plural deployments, brothers you served with in combat. Her voice got colder. Mr. Secretary, that is called stolen valor, and it is a federal crime. The room erupted, not gradually, instantly. Journalists typing, cameras moving, committee members leaning into microphones. The chairman banged the gavel. Order. When quiet returned, Ernst continued. There is no shame in serving in a support role. There is no shame in not being in combat. The vast majority of military personnel serve honorably without ever engaging the enemy. Her voice hardened. But there is shame, there is dishonor. In claiming combat experience you do not have, in wearing the credibility of combat service when you never earned it. She picked up her combat action badge again. This badge represents the worst day of my life. The day my convoy was hit, the day I thought I was going to die, the day I had to fire my weapon at human beings trying to kill me and my soldiers. She held it up. You do not get to claim that experience. You do not get to borrow that credibility. You do not get to say my combat deployments when you were never in combat. She set it down, hard. The sound echoed. Show me your badge, Mr. Secretary. If you have combat experience, show me the documentation. The DD 214 entry, the award citation, the combat action badge itself. 50 seconds. Hegseth stared at the table. You cannot, because you do not have one, because you were never in combat. 60 seconds. 1 full minute, Hegseth's hands flat on the table, not moving. A Republican senator spoke. Mr. Secretary, do you have a combat action badge? Yes or no? Hegseth looked up. No. The senator sat back. Then you were not in combat. 65 seconds. That moment, a Republican senator from his own party, confirming on the record that Hegseth was not in combat, is the moment the room shifted completely. Because it was no longer a partisan attack. It was not a Democrat using military credentials to score political points. It was a member of Hegseth's own side sitting in the same room saying the same thing Ernst had been building toward for the previous minute. If you do not have the badge, you are not in combat. That is not opinion. That is Army regulation. And it had now been stated by both sides of the aisle in the same hearing. Ernst pulled out one more document. Fox News transcript, October 2023. You said, when I was in firefights in Iraq, you learn real quick who you can trust. She looked up. You just admitted you do not have a combat action badge. The Army does not award that badge unless you are engaged by the enemy. If you were never engaged, you were never in a firefight. She set it down. That statement is false, is it not? 70 seconds, Hegseth's voice cracked. That may have been, I may have misspoken. You misspoken about being in a firefight. Ernst's voice was steel. That is not a detail you misremember. You either were or you were not, and your service record says you were not. There is a specific reason that distinction matters beyond this hearing room. When a public figure claims combat experience they do not have, they are not just making a false statement. They are borrowing credibility that belongs to the people who were actually there. Every time Hegseth said my combat deployments on a television program or at a veterans event, he was implicitly claiming membership in a community he never earned entry to. And that community, the people who were actually shot at, who actually returned fire, who actually lost people, they know the difference. You cannot fake what it feels like. You cannot fake what it costs. 73 seconds. Ernst gathered her documents, stacked them, looked at Hegseth one final time. Mr. Secretary, I spent 23 years in the Army. I deployed to Kuwait and Iraq. I commanded soldiers in combat zones. I earned my combat action badge the hard way. Her voice dropped, quiet but devastating. And I have spent the last 15 minutes listening to you sit in silence rather than admit you lied about having combat experience. She stood. Mr. Chairman, I move to enter the complete DD 214, all Fox News transcripts, all campaign speech transcripts, and combat action badge regulation AR 60822 into the congressional record. Seconded. Passed. I further move to refer this matter to the Department of Defense Inspector General for investigation into potential Stolen Valor Act violations under 18 U.S.C. 704. seconded past. Ernst looked at Hegseth, then at the cameras, to every veteran watching, to everyone who earned their combat action badge under fire. You know what this means. She picked up her badge one final time. This is not a prop. This is not a credential you claim when it is convenient. This is proof that you were there when it mattered, that you did not run, that you earned the right to speak about combat. She put it back in the case, closed it, put it in her pocket. Mr. Secretary does not have that right. He never earned it. And he sat for 73 seconds in silence rather than admit it. She walked out, straight back, head high, the way a soldier walks, because Joni Ernst did not need to raise her voice. She had something Pete Hegseth could never fake. A combat action badge earned under fire, documented in her service record, proof she was there, and Hegseth had nothing, no badge, no combat, just years of stolen valor finally exposed, 73 seconds of silence, no combat action badge, no combat experience, no credibility left. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because some things cannot be faked, and a combat action badge is one of them.